Nahmaduhu wa nasalli ala rasulil kareem amma ba'du. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. So there's one way to get home quickly, and that is to, if there is any level of popularity, is to move that popularity all the way through down the floor, inshallah. So I saved this bayan for close to my escape. In all aspects, we have the sunnah. In all aspects, we have guidance. We've talked over the 9 days, 8 days. It all became a blur. About various aspects. I've tried my best, alhamdulillah, to share with you insights, points of motivation, points of understanding, points of reflection. And hopefully, after all of that, action. It's not just, nice lectures, fluffy lectures, snowflakes, all the rest of it. It's about what we're going to do next. What we're going to do with all of this? What's the information? One area, obviously, is eating food. Yes. Usman, you're way outside. One is about eating food. So, I know everyone's looking down now thinking, oh, is that the time? SubhanAllah. When I'm supposed to be somewhere. No. Now that you've sat down, now you're going to have to see it through, inshallah. And, I let us enjoy eating all the food on the 8-9 days of, look, I've left it right near the end. So you're only going to feel a little bit guilty maybe tonight, but you've already ordered that food, so you won't feel that guilty. And then it's only tomorrow, then it's Eid. Obviously, we're allowed to eat well. And then you can put this strategy together after Eid, inshallah. How's that? Inshallah, that's good. So one of the first things that we do, that we're instructed before we eat, is to wash our hands. Wash our hands. Reason being why we wash our hands is for barakah. We understand now with our sort of medical hat on that, especially when COVID came, we were like washing our hands every sort of 30 seconds in case air fell on it. Oh no, air fell on it again, let me wash them again. Yeah. Can you imagine what level of lunacy we reached to those 2 years? It was madness. We had to make sure that the person was like 600 yards away from us. Our safs were all dingy and all sorts was going on. So washing hands. So before we start, that's what we should do. Remove any najasat, get the barakah, and then we sit to eat. We start with Bismillah. When there are sort of demons which hang about with us at different stages, and there is a demon that will be with us at the time we eat food. If we do not say Bismillah, he will eat with us. If we say Bismillah, he won't eat with us. So therefore, sometimes, you see like a shank of a lamb, a shank of a lamb, 3 chicken breast pieces, 2 pizzas, and a kilo of doner meat. For starters, right? And when we just get through that, you think, why am I still feeling peckish? I still feel hungry. Oh, thankfully there's some dessert coming, alhamdulillah. So, if the only reason we're not getting full is because somebody else is eating with us, because there's enough food there to feed, forget our khanan, our whole village. There's enough food there. When you look at it, the quantity of food that's there's enough. So why are we getting full? Why are we still hungry? Because maybe we didn't say Bismillah. Maybe we didn't really connect with that dua when we started to eat. Third thing to bear in mind when it comes to eating is, as we mentioned a few days back about halalan tayyiban, is making sure that our earnings are halal, and then the food that we're purchasing is halal. Because again, it's going to lack barakah, it's going to lack sustenance if it is not halal. So again, we will eat more. We will consume more. Tayyiba we also discussed to make sure it is pure, the animal is being looked after, the animal has been raised well, and things of that nature. So far 3 things we've discussed. Washing hands, Bismillah, making sure that we have halal earnings, and the food itself is halal. I know we say, oh yeah, but it says halal on his sign on his door. So, of course it's going to be halal. Come on, guys. If I were to tell you who deals drugs in Bradford, would you be surprised if I said they were Muslim? Or would you not be surprised? So if therefore, and I'm sure you guys know who knocks about with who in this Wolfram store. Yeah, who's up to no good? Who are the boys in the hood? Yeah, are they Muslim? Some will be. So do we take everything they say to be halal? If they come here, here's a quarter, it's halal, brother. Oh, it's sorted, mate. There you go. Yeah. Here's a line, but it's halal. All right, thanks, mate. So isn't that the same brother who's selling you halal here and then he's selling you halal here as well? So let's not make excuses just because we have brown face and he can say the word halal that it's going to be halal. The thing is, there's very few, we know we've talked about HMC before, there's very few bodies that are ensuring that when somebody puts the label halal on it, it is halal. Because there's no external body that will do that, apart from, say, HMC that's doing it. So anyone can buy any meat from anywhere and say to you, it's halal. How are you going to know? Are you going to call him a liar? You're going to go say, I need to look into your freezers? How are you going to know? You're going to put your fingers on the chicken breast and say, yeah, that kind of feels halal. That one's all right. Pooh, that doesn't. How are you going to know? You don't know. Now, if we take a very nonchalant attitude towards where our food comes from, then again, we will consume loads, but we won't get full. We will not be satisfied. We will not be satiated. We want more. And then there's a hadith which I found earlier. I would have memorized it, but unfortunately from 1240 up until literally right now, I've just been talking. Literally, whatever, 6 hours, 7 hours. At the moment, you are all spinning around in my head. Are you all sat down or are you all spinning around in my head, literally? So at the moment, I didn't have a chance to memorize the hadith, so my apologies. But I wrote it down. مَا مَلَأَ آدَمِيٌّ وِعَاءً شَرًّا مِنْ بَطْنٍ. The Prophet ﷺ said that a person does not fill a vessel worse than the button, the stomach. A man does not fill a vessel worse than the stomach. حَسْبُ الْآدَمِيِّ لُقَيْمَاتٌ يُقِمْنَا صُلْبُهُ. It would be sufficient for a person if he took a few luqma in order to keep his back straight. It's interesting, isn't it, that when we start speaking to nutritionists and health experts, they will say, don't have big meals. Don't have like a big lunch. Don't have like a big supper. Have small meals regularly. Have small meals regularly. The Prophet ﷺ said it 1400 years ago. But we didn't listen to him. But now we're going to pay some guy £30 an hour or £50 an hour or whatever we're going to pay a month in order to give us nutritional advice or in order to give us health advice. And the first thing he's going to say to you is, eat less but eat more often. Why? Because you want to just put enough fuel in the tank that's going to be burnt to keep you going for the next few hours. Then you put a bit more fuel in the tank which keeps you going for the next few hours. Then you put a bit more fuel in the tank which keeps you going for the next few hours. Because if you put too much fuel in the tank and you're not going to use that energy, the body is going to store it as fat. The body is going to store it as fat because it thinks, you never know, this person, not that it looks like it from what he eats, but there might come a time where he's not got enough food. So I'll just put this away here, put this away here, put this away here, put it here, 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 here. Right? And then what happens as we get older, normally we're top heavy, the chest is big, the shoulders are big, and slowly it slips down until we're bigger here and we're flat chested. Right? Slide down. We all know. We can't remember the last time we tied our nana that was below the navel. It now sits proudly on top of our stomach, which acts as a tray, which is always good when we're sat there and we want to have a drink and food. We can put a lot of things now on it. Drink, put it there. So he says, the Prophet ﷺ, that Hasbul Adami luqaymatun yuqimna sulbuhu, that would suffice a person that he eats enough luqma to keep going for the next 2-3 hours. Then he gets hungry, he needs a bit more energy, And remember, these were people who worked manual jobs all day. Not like us, who press a few buttons. And even then, when we're working from home, we can set a program which makes our mouse move regularly. So if our boss is checking on us, he sees the mouse going, yeah, he's busy at work. And we're knocked out cold. This hybrid working now, yeah? Or we go to the gym. If we do go to the gym and we move the mouse around every 10 minutes, 20 minutes, send an email, looks like we're busy. Right? So enough luqma to keep the back straight, to keep the energy going. فَإِنْ غَلَبَتِ الْآدَمِيَّ نَفْسُهُ. If, however, nobody watched what we're eating tonight. Remember, we're fasting, alhamdulillah, we've had a long day. If, however, you want to munch, you want to eat, yeah, you just don't want to feel luqmas, you want to really enjoy your meal. Yeah, you've had a long working day, you want to get your teeth stuck in. You want to taste some masala. Yeah? You want to get really into it. Then the Prophet ﷺ said, so your nafs gets the better of you. Then the Prophet ﷺ said, فَثُلُثٌ لِلطَّعَامِ. Only a third of your stomach should be food. وَثُلُثٌ لِلشَّرَابِ. Only a third should be for drink. وَثُلُثٌ لِلنَّفَسِ. But leave a third empty. So at least you can breathe. Yeah? At least you're not going to be rolled out from the lower basement to the lift. And then they're going to press the button and roll you into the lift. And then press up and the lift is going, so press again. So then you have to get like a crane and a winch, you know. So you have to avoid all of that. A third, a third, a third. That's what the Prophet ﷺ said. These are his instructions. So some might say, but what's the problem? Well, firstly, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has created you in proportion. So depending on your frame, if you're 5'9", 5'10", your shoulder frame, then your organs have been made for that type of body. So your heart will be made for that frame and that body weight, that body size. Your lungs, your kidneys, your liver. But if you start putting excessive weight on, so it starts to go beyond what your body weight is, your heart, your organs are now working overtime. So if you weigh, for example, 30%, 40% than what you should weigh, then your organs are now working 30, 40% more than what they should be working, approximately. Which means you're now shortening your life. You are shortening your life. Or you are shortening the quality of your life. So when you start hitting 60, you're struggling, or when you start hitting 70, you're struggling. You cannot see these older years because you burnt yourself out. And we know that obesity, which is obviously a cause of excessive eating, can lead to heart disease, stroke, and diabetes. Now, I'm not going to ask people to put their hands up, but if we were just to do a survey, how many of us in this masjid right now either suffer from those, or know a parent that suffers from them, or knows a family member that suffers from them? That's not by chance. Now we might say, well, that's a choice we make, but this goes in clear contradiction to what the Prophet ﷺ said. We did not just come to accept that, oh, we're going to pray salah, and we're going to fast, and we're going to go for hajj, and we're going to give zakah. We have to live as Muslims fully. You know, when you look at Badr and Uhud, and even the other battles that took place, the Sahaba who were in their 50s, a sword would weigh 15, 20 kg. Long sword. And they would swing that for 6-7 hours. And not just swinging it in the air, but swinging and cutting through flesh and bone. We can't hold our arms up for more than 5 minutes before we're tired. And then we say that, oh, is it fard for jihad? Is it fard for this? Once we can do a few push-ups and get the duvet off, I guess then maybe we're ready for it. Up until that point, that's all it is. Hawa. It's just gas. It's just spending a couple hours talking about something. It's passing time. But even if a person doesn't get these serious illnesses like heart disease or stroke or diabetes, you get that bloated feeling. You get that uncomfortable feeling. You can even sometimes get apnea. You get acid reflux. You feel unwell. You feel tired. You want to sleep more. You lose that edge. You lose that sharpness. So it slowly slows the human down. And what we sometimes do is, just to kind of appease the guilt of all that food, we become members of a gym. So look, I'm a member of a gym. Yeah, that's all good, mashallah, but you have to also go as well. But when we do go to the gym, if a person, say, went onto a treadmill for an hour at approximately 3 miles per hour, which is a fairly brisk pace, he would just burn off a donut. So for what we eat, we'd have to spend like 15 hours in the gym just to burn all that off. So the change doesn't come from the exercise, the change comes from what we eat. Because all you're doing is just burning a little bit. How many calories can a person burn? Going at 3 miles an hour, 3.5 miles an hour on a treadmill for a full hour, about 450, maybe 500 calories he burns. That's about 300 calories in a glazed donut. And if you count everything that we're consuming, so it makes us fatigued, it makes us tired. We lack that kind of, we become complacent, we lack energy, we lack that kind of, motivation to do something. We fall ill then. We become then dependent, others become, we become dependent on others. We need now support, we need people looking after us. And that goes against, obviously, what the Prophet ﷺ said. So balanced eating, control eating, all aspects of eating. Just to remind, the washing of hands, the basmala to recite in order to bring the barakah, and also to remove any demons that might be consuming, to make sure that our earnings and our food is halal and tayyib. And then to eat what will suffice. A little bit of breakfast, maybe some fruit a few hours later, a light lunch, something else, eating something maybe slightly more heavier, but then not eating too much just before we're going to sleep. Because when you're going to sleep, you're burning no calories. So when the body is ready with all this energy that you've consumed 1,000, 2,000 calories of food, and it's saying, right, I got all of this, what are you going to use it for? And you're asleep. So now what's it going to do with it? So it adds it as fat. So it puts fat all around the organs. So you get fat over the liver, you get fat over the kidney, you get fat over the heart. And then you get fat across the body, and that's where the diseases comes in. That's where arteries start to get blocked. That's why we get heart attacks. That's why we get stents put into our heart. That's why all these situations come on. We get diabetes and all these illnesses come. They don't come by chance. Now, if this amanat, which Allah SWT has given us, and He asked us to look after it, it's like, for example, somebody wants to borrow my car, and I give him my car, and when he gives it back to me, it's in a completely different condition I gave it to him. I said, look what have you done to this car? Right? It won't go out of second gear. It can only, travel at 20 miles an hour. It keeps stalling at the lights. This is not the way I gave it to you. I gave it to you in, working condition. So in the same way, if Allah has given us a body that to be able to do these things, to worship Him, to go into sajda, to be able to do the work that we need to do, and it's all broken down because of our excesses, then that's something that we will be accountable for. Then that's something that we will have to answer for. So not only do we get a difficult life in the dunya because we're struggling with our health, we're struggling with doing things, we're also going to be questioned for it on Yawm al-Qiyamah, so there's no escape. So therefore, consume that amount of food which moves us along, and if absolutely necessary that this person wants to eat a little bit more, then a third rule, which means that this person can at least move around, and then obviously keeping a balanced sort of, a healthy living and a healthy state, which also will then affect on that person's mind. Wa akhiru da'wana and alhamdulillahi rabbil alameen. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi.